Hello and welcome to this amazing tutorial once again with a continuation of our VBA programming language. And in this lesson, we're going to go ahead and continue with our lesson. So here, we're going to write the code to take the data from the form straight to our database all in Excel. It's going to be easy, simple, and fun. Okay, so don't forget to follow exactly what we are doing here. And by the end of this lesson, we have an assignment for you to keep track of your progress. Okay, so you try as much as possible to do the assignment. In our next lesson, we'll be uploading the solution to the assignment. So yours is to be able to manage and do it all by yourself, so that in the next lesson, you'll be able to see how it is done and follow exactly that. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If this is the first time you are visiting the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and also press the bell icon so that you can receive notifications anytime we upload new lessons. If you want the previous lessons to watch, we have all the links in the video description below. You can just check and then get all the lessons and get things up and running. Don't forget to check our previous tutorials as well. Let's quickly delve straight into today's lessons. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another lesson in our VBA programming. And in this lesson, we're going to write macros to collect data from our user form to the data sheet. So pay particular attention. We're going to do it step by step, explain every line of code for you to understand. It's very important you also pay attention to that. So without much ado, let's dive right into that. So let's just go ahead and launch our form. We've already created the front end, so launch it from here. Good, perfect. We have our form, so let's just Alt F11 to trigger open the code editor. There we go. So we go to insert, choose module. Let's give it a name, so you can just name it as data. Perfect. You can give it a name of your choice, okay? But make sure if you are using maybe two words, you join them, you don't leave a space, as you just see here. So just double click on it. So we're going to start writing our codes here. So the idea is that whenever we enter information here or data here and then we trigger this button, we should have it saved here for us. Okay, so basically that is that. So to do that, we're going to create another subroutine or a new subroutine here. So we say sub add new data. You can give it any name of your choice, okay, but make sure you follow the best practices we talked about. It's very important. Okay, good. Now there are several ways we can approach this, right? Let's just do the rough way for the meantime before we go to the best ones in that order. So let's do something like this. So what we are going to do is this: we're just going to assign a value from here. So say whatever value that is here should be assigned to this range, and whatever value that is coming from here should be assigned to this, and whatever value that is coming from here should also be assigned to that. Perfect. So but to start with, let's start with this one. Okay, so we come here and say, so what we're going to do first is this. Let's call on the data sheet first. Okay, the sheet. So we say sheets, then into brackets. The name of the sheet is data, so don't forget. Sorry, data dot range, data sheet dot this range. Okay, into brackets. The range is A2 dot value dot value equal to sheet, what we are saying is this. Okay, let me finish and then explain. Call sheet into bracket. What is the name of the sheet? Form dot dot range into brackets. The range from this form is taken of this range, this client, and then Control C to copy it, then Control V to paste, then client dot value, perfect name. But what we are saying is this: the sheet, which is the data sheet, from the range, this particular range, dot value. The value of this range should be the value we are going to be writing from what? The range from the sheet called form, and then the range C name. We've already given it a name, right? C name. So now with this single line of code, whatever we type here, let's say AMA, yeah, okay. So let's just come here and run this code. Let me see something. So let's go ahead to check. You can see that it has been assigned here. Okay, so this is one way we can just write or collect data from our form toward this, but we are not done. Okay, because we have three data to take, that is name, date, and then amount. So to take for the three, all we are going to do is just to copy this. Okay, Control C to copy it, then paste for the rest to Control V and edit. So here just going to do some editing here. So if this is A2, it's going to be B2 and then C2, right? So here we're going to say what? B2 dot value. So we say what? Sheet data, this data dot range, this range, B2 dot value here. It should be equal to form dot range, which should also be coming from what? The range T dates. So Control C to copy. So here we come here and paste, Control V to paste T dates. And also the last one we're going to edit is this one, the third one. So it's a sheet, which of the sheet? The data sheet dot range, which of the range? Here C2. So we just clear this and use C2. The value of this range should be equal to sheet form, this sheet dot range, this range T amount. Control C to copy that, and then come here, declare this, Control V to paste. Okay, so now with this, let's just change this to let's say Karim Huda, and then the transaction date is 23rd 10 2020. Okay, 2020, and then transaction amount is 200. Okay, now if we should run this macro, let's confirm here first. If we should run this macro, we'll have all the data collected and pasted here. Perfect, it's here like this. So you can see that the data is collected and pasted here perfectly. But this is one way. Okay, I'm just demonstrating something based on what we've already done so that you see the importance of what we've done so far. Talking of selecting a range and writing values to them is what we've just done here. Okay, now the idea is this: with this particular method, we are going to keep pasting just this particular row. Okay, we're going to keep pasting this row alone. Because for example, let's go ahead and change it something again and see, like Al Hassan Musa. Okay, then 10 22 MD. Then the transaction amount is this. Okay, if we should run this, let's go back and check our data. So you can see that it's pasted, it has replaced the previous one. So that is one disadvantage about this method, but I want you to know it down because in our subsequent lessons we'll be using this, which will be very useful then. So we don't need this. Now we're going to use a method called loop. Okay, we're going to use a loop to be able to what? Check and get a row which is empty and then paste our data there in that order. So, but then it's very unfortunate that I haven't explained, or I couldn't explain loop. So I will take this opportunity and explain loops here at once. Okay. So for me to explain loop for you to understand, let's create another subroutine here. Say sub, and we call it loop tests. Perfect. So here now, what we are going to do is this. Let's create another sheet here for now, so that we try something. Let's say we want to write a value to this particular range. Okay. We want to write a value here, and until that value is greater or equal to 10, we want to be incrementing it. We want to be adding until we get that value to either be greater or equal to 10. Okay, that is how we're going to use the loop to do. So with this, let's just go ahead and start our code. So to do that, first of all, we're going to write a value to this. So you can try to pause your video here and write a value to this range for me. Let me see. Pause it and try it. Then when you are done, you continue. I'm sure you are done now. So let me just do that. So we say range. Which of the range am I writing to? Okay, so range A1. Okay, dot value equal to 0. Okay, so if I should just run this, I should have 0 here. Perfect. Now I've just written a value to this range. Now the condition is going to be like, I'm going to write a loop. Okay, and it's going to be checking the value here until that value is either greater or equal to 10. It should keep looping and be increasing it until we get to 10 or greater than 10, and then from there you can jump out of the loop. Okay, that is what we want to do. So to do that, we're going to use a loop called the do until loop. Okay, the do until loop. So we say to start, we say do until, keep doing until certain condition is met. What is the condition? Until the range, which of the range, this particular range. Okay, the range we're just talking about is A1, sorry, dot value, the value there is either greater or equal to 10. So when you are done, you end with loop, because that is how, when you start with do until, then you end with loop. So whatever is going to be written in the middle is going to be executed as a loop. Okay, so that is that. Perfect. Okay, now what we are saying is this: keep looping until the value here is either greater or equal to 10. But how will the value be greater or equal to 10? We need to be incrementing it in every iteration. Anytime it loops, we need to increase it until we get our condition met. Okay, so to do that, we say what? Range, which of the range? A1 dot value equal to the same thing, range, which of the range? A1 dot value plus 1. Okay, what I'm saying is this: the range A1, the value here should be equal to what? This same value plus 1. What I'm saying is, in every iteration, I would want to add what? 1 to the value here. And until the number here is either greater or equal to 10, I want to keep doing that. So that is what I've just done. So I say what? Range A1 dot value, which is 0, is equal to what? Range A1 dot value plus 1. What in it literally, what this means is that 0 is equal to 0 plus 1. Why? Because range A1 dot value is 0 is equal to range A1 dot value is still 0 plus 1. That is that. Simple mathematics, right? Good. So that is that. So now let's see. Now after that, when that condition is met, I would like to receive some message, like a success message. I'm just explaining the loop. Okay, like so a success is like something like success. Okay, something like that to show us that the condition is met. Okay, or something like that. Perfect. So how do we write that message? You can pause the video and write that line of code for me to see. It's very simple. I'm sure you are done. So let's see. So you say message box. Have you gotten it correct? And you say what? Success. Then you can add this. Perfect. So that is your message. Now let's run it and see something. Let's press F8 key. So stop. Let me stop it, and then as we run it, we explain. Okay. So from the SAP. So we've already assigned a value to that. Okay. If I like, let me stop it again. Let me clear the value. Okay, now let's go back. F8, it has assigned 0 to that. Now when I run this line, it will check the 0 there. Is it greater or equal to 10? As it stands now, it's still what's the name? It's still less than 10. So it will just go here. Now what is going to happen here is it's going to add 1 to 0 from this line. 1 is added. Still the condition is not met, so it goes back again and check. It will add 1 again. Still the condition is not met. It will go back again and check. It will add 1. It will add. It will keep looping. What I'm just doing is looping. You can see that it's just within the loop. Okay, so let's see until we get to 10. Perfect. So its value is 10 and then success message. It means that the condition is met. Because the condition is that until, keep doing that until the value there is what, either greater or equal to 10. For now is equal to 10, which is one of the conditions. Okay, the conditions are two, either greater or equal to 10. And now that the first one is met, it will even go to the second one again. So that is how loops work. Okay, go perfect. So that is that. I pray you understand how the loops work. So now with this, we're going to use the loop to loop through this particular ranges until we get to a cell or a range which is empty. Then it will just pull our data from user from here. Okay, so let's do that. So we don't need all this, so we just can clear this now. It's just a demonstration. Perfect. So we can just comment this out. Okay, comment this out now. Comment this out as well. So here, now what we need to do is this. First of all, before we go ahead and write our loop for checking this particular ranges, we need to first of all activate the data sheet. Okay, so to activate the sheet, I want you to activate the sheet for me. You can pause the video and do that. I'm waiting. Are you done? Okay, now confirm your results. Okay, so sheets. Also, the name of the sheet is data dot say what activate. Have you gotten it correct? Perfect. So that is that. After activating it, now we want to select the first range here. That is range A2. We want to select it. So we do that. You can pause the video and try that again. So you say what? Range. Which of the range? A2 dot select. Perfect. So let's try running this and see something. Let's be on this form. Let's run this F8. From here it will activate the data sheet. Activated, it will select the range to perfect. It's done. Now the next line of action is going to be our loop. Okay, we're going to write our loop here. So we're going to say here that after the sheet, after that range is activated, we want to loop through and check something. So we use our loop do until what? Until active cell dot value is equal to empty. What I'm saying is this, then I will here loop. Don't forget to always end it there like that. Now what I'm saying is that keep looping until active cell, which is what is active cell? Active cell is a cell that is selected like this. Then when I select this, it becomes active cell. Okay, that is an active cell here. This is an active cell. This is an active cell. Perfect. What I'm saying is this: do until, keep looping until the active cell dot value. There is no value. Anytime you see double inverted commas like this with nothing in between it, it means it's empty. That range is empty. It's an empty string. It is called an empty string. Okay, there's no value there. So you check where there is no value, then we want to do something. So in that case, then when it checks here, there is a value, so it will move to another line where there is no value. So if there's a value, what do you want to do? What do you want us to do? Or if there is no value, what do you want us to do? If there is no value, we jump out of the loop and do something. So you come out of the loop. What do you want to do? I want to write something to the value which is what? Not empty, which is what? Empty. We want to what? Display our what data there. We want to save our data there to the value which is what empty. So it will keep looping until it gets to a range or the active cell which is what empty. So let's see that when it gets there, what do we want to do? We want to write to that value because it's free. So we want to save our data there. So let's do that. So to do that, say what active cell dot value is equal to sheet into brackets from dot range. When it gets to the value which is when it gets to active cell which is what empty, we want to write something to that what range. So we go here, we are taking this dot range, control C to copy this, and we come here, dot range, control V to paste it, dot value. Now what we are saying is this: if it checks and the value and the range and it finds an active cell which is empty, we want to write whatever we have here to that particular range. Okay, so that is that. So let's just go ahead and check on that. So here we have Alasan Musa. Let me change it to Musa Muhammad. Okay, Musa Muhammad. Perfect. Okay, now let's go back to the data sheet. Okay, now we won't go back there. So let's just click here. Now let's run using the F8 key and see. To activate the data is activated. Now it's doing answer, so it's now checking this particular row. For now, it's not empty, there is a value, so it will skip it. So let's run it and see it has skipped it. Now let's see, it will go back and check. Now it's checking, is there value in the next one? If there is no, it will just come back and select it. Okay, sorry, let me just check something here. Oh, sorry, I didn't set the condition here. Okay, perfect. Now let's set the condition here. Okay, now when it finds that empty cell before we write, or that empty active cell before we write to it, we have to what? Offset and make sure we select that what's the name, active cell. Okay, make sure we select that cell. So to do that, we say what? Active cell, sorry, dot, we talk of offset. I'll explain it more right now, so that we'll into brackets 1 column 0 dot select. Perfect. Okay, sorry for that. Let me explain that now. Now what we are saying here is this. Let me go back to this function. Okay, perfect. We want to activate the sheet data. So when we run in this line, we'll activate that, and then it will go ahead and select what range 2 on the data sheet. Then after that, it will begin the loop. So do until active cell is what? Empty string. Which one is the active cell? The cell which is which is selected. Okay. Now when it finds that cell, it will go ahead and select that active cell. We say what? Active cell dot offset. Now what do we mean by offset? Offset simply means like skipping. Now what is 1,0 here? The moment we got here, when we're writing this line, you notice something. Okay, let me just clean it first so I see something. Offset into bracket, you can see row. It means how many rows do I want to skip? I just want to skip this one row. Okay, this row, the row which is having the value is what I'm skipping. I'm skipping the row with the value. Now what of the column and comma? You can see column to offset. I don't want to skip any column. I just want to, after I skip this row and I come to this row, I don't want to go to the next column. I want to write to this value. So it means I'll remain here in this what? In this particular range. That is A3. That is what I want. So then I'll just close the bracket. Dot select. Okay. So with this, when I find that range, which is what? Empty, I'll just come. It is called active. So I'll just select it and then I'll be there waiting for another line of action. So let's quickly go back here. Let's be on this form. Okay, let's be here now. Now let's run it. F8. Now this line will activate the data sheet. It's activated. Now we want to begin looping. Do until active cell is not, sorry, is equal to empty. So it's now checking. Now with this one, we can see that it is what? It's having value, so it's not empty. So it will skip it. Okay, so it's now checking the next one. Let's see. So it has now come to the next one. With this one, it has no value, so it will remain there and it will jump out of the loop. It means it has found an empty what? Cell. Okay, and it has offset. Offset means what? It has skipped the row with what? Data, and it's now with the row without data. And then offsetting 0 means we didn't move to the next column. If we were to change this to 1, let me just try that for you to see. If we were to change this to 1, it means we wouldn't have this selected, but rather this. It means we will skip one row and then one column and then we'll select this. So let's check that and see. I've changed it to 1, so let's run it and see. So F8, it has selected that and then it's now checking. So you can see that perfect. You can see it means I've skipped. Offset means I've skipped one row, which is this row, and one column, which is this column. So I'll select this particular one. So active cell dot what? Offset, and select the cell after skipping the row and then the column. But here we don't want to skip this. We want to write to this one. So we don't want to skip the column. So we are maintaining that column. So it's a 0. So if we should run this, we should have, I don't want this. I don't want us to paste it for now. I want us to do that line by line. Okay, so let's go back now. So let's be on this form. Okay, so now let's start our line of action. Now F8 activated. It's now checking. Now this one, there is data, it will skip it. It's now checking to see the one without data and select it. So it's selected. Now it will jump. It has, the condition is met. It has gotten what it wants. What does it want? A cell without data in it, and then select it. So it has selected it now. It will jump out of the loop now and come and write to that cell. So this line of code is writing to that cell. How is it doing that? We say what? Active cell dot value. What is the active cell? The selected cell here is the active cell. The value there is equal to what? Sheet form, this particular sheet form dot range cname, whatever is in here is what we are taking and then assigning to that particular cell. Okay, so let's go back to our data. Now if we should continue running it, it will just paste that there. So perfect, that is that. Now even if we should continue running it, it will still check and then do that. Let's see. It will now check. It has now selected this one. For this one, you can see that there is value, so it will skip it and check to the next one. It will go back. Now it's now checking this one. It has realized there is value, so it will skip it. Now it has now found where there is no value, so it will now be out of the loop now and write this to that again. Perfect. So that is that. So in this, or using this method, we wouldn't be writing to the same row over and over again as you saw us using this particular method. Okay, now how do we get to this and that? So to get this, the value for this and that, let me clear this for now. To get the value for this and that, it means we need to offset what? One column. We need to offset what? 0 row. When we get to this row, we will not offset it again, so it will remain 0. Okay, and then we'll offset one column and get to this. To get to this, I will offset what? 2 columns and we get to this. So let's do that. So to do that, we'll say this. So let's just say active cell dot offset. What are we offsetting? We are offsetting 0 row. We don't want to, when we come to this row, we want to remain there, but offset one column and go to this column. Okay, so we will not offset row, offset just one column into bracket. Then we say dot value, dot value equal to sheet. Which of the sheets? Form. dot range. Which of the range are we taking this data? The date, the transaction date is coming from this range. Okay, this range, that is T date. So we select it, Control C to copy it, and here dot range into brackets, Control V to paste, dot value. So what we are saying here is this. Let me just explain this for you to see. Now say active cell, when it finds a cell without anything, we want to skip. Guess what? We want to be on that row, but skip one column and then write to that particular cell that is going to be activated next after the offset. What is that value? The value should be coming from what? Sheet called form dot range T date. Where is that? That is here. That value should be coming from here. Okay, that is the date. Perfect. So I will need to proceed and get this. So let's run it and see what's going to be. Let's change this name to what name do I want? Razak. Okay, let's maintain this, and then that. Now if we should run this line by line, let's check it line by line. Offset, sorry, it will activate the data sheets. Activated. To select the first range, there is value, so it will escape it and go back and check there is value. It will escape and go back. Now it has now found out without value, so it will be out of the loop. It will jump out of the loop here and come and execute this line, that is writing to this particular range. Now F8, it has written to that range. Now here it will skip, it will offset one column, meaning it will leave this column and move to the next column. That is why we say what? 0 1. So it will move here. So F8 again, so it has pasted that and then it's out of the loop. Sorry. Good. So now how do we get this? You can even guess. Let's check this. So to get that, we just copy this. Control C to copy. Control V to paste. So let's edit it now. How are we going to edit it? We are going to maintain everything, but then we are going to offset how many columns? 2 columns. It means we are going to skip this column, and come to this particular column and do what? Pour the data in there. So that is that. But the data is coming from what? The sheet called form, and then the range is where? This particular range, that is what? T amount. So Control C to copy it. And then you come here, Control V to paste. Now if we should change this to maybe 700 and change this to ISA. Okay, so let's go back, run it line by line. Activated. It's now checking the first row, there's data to go back. Checking one, the one with Muhammad, there's data, it's now gone back. Checking Razak. Now it has realized that it has gotten its what? Empty cell now, or empty cell, and then it's activated. So now it will write to it, it will jump out of the loop and write. So it's writing to that. When I run this line, it will write to the second one, offset one column, then it will offset another column again and write to this. Perfect. That is that. So if I should keep pressing the F8 key, it will still be writing to that. See, it's looping and checking. It has found empty and then it's displaying, so it will keep adding. Just pressing the F8 key. You can also be doing that. You see how it's going to be working. Okay. So finally, let me just check here now. Okay, let me explain better. So now the good thing is this. What I want you to take away from this is that by now you understand what this means. Okay, it's a subroutine. Okay, sub procedure. This line of code, sheets data activate. You know what it's doing here? It is activating a particular sheet called data. And after that sheet is activated, you are with this line, you are doing what? Selecting a particular range, which is what? A2. Selecting it. Now, what is this line doing? It's a loop. What type of loop? It's a do until loop. It will keep doing until a certain condition is met. What is that condition? Say what? Do until, keep looping until you get to a range which is what? Empty. Because we can paste data into a row with what? Already holding the data. So look for a data or a range which is empty. When you get that, then you come and activate it, so it becomes what? The active cell. But then when you get to that offset, just what? One row meaning offset where there is data and move to the next one and select that empty cell. After selecting it, come and write this to that. And when you are done, move to the next line, offset one column and write this to that. So to execute this. When you are done, move, offset 2 columns and write this to that. Perfect. Simple as that. Okay. Yeah, that is how it works. It's very simple and then easy without any stress. Okay. Now we are done writing to our what's the name, but here is the catch. Let's go ahead and assign this to our button. So now let's right click on this button. You see, go to assign macro. The name of our macro is what? Sub add new data. So we select it here, click on OK. So now whenever we trigger this, it will just come and add here. So let's go back and enter another thing like Jamil Awal 05 or 02, then 09 2020. Then here 4,700. We trigger this, then it's added perfectly. Okay, it's working. But now here is the catch. We don't want it that whenever we click on this and it comes here. We don't want to be clicking and it coming here. What if we decide to hide this? Okay, what if we decide to do that? We want to remain here. We want to remain here on this particular form. So how do we do that? You can guess. Okay, you can guess. So to do that, we will say what? You can guess. So we pause the video and then do that for me. When you are done, you just confirm the answer now. So we say what? Sheet 1. Don't forget the form, the sheet which is named form, the ID is what? Sheet 1. So here we are using the ID of that sheet. It's the same thing. We are still using the form, the sheet called form. The ID is what? Sheet 1. The label is what we call the form here, right? Good. So sheet 1 dot activate. Perfect. So after that, whenever we submit, we didn't go there again. It's submitted there, but then we'll remain on this one. Okay, that is how it works. So let's check. You see that it's submitting the same thing. The mailer one. Then the more I click, the more it's submitted. So we go back and we see that it's still submitting. Perfect. But we don't want it like that. Okay, let's just clear that. So that we have clear content perfectly. Okay. Now let's go back to our user form here. Now we want a success message here. Okay, after submission, we want to receive a message like data submitted successfully, and then the time and current time and date the data is submitted. We want to have all that in this particular range. It means we want to write to this particular range, that is C15. So if you know how to, by now you should know how to write to a range. Okay, so to do that, just come here. Say what? Sheet 1. We are using the ID now. Okay. Dot range. We are talking of, when we talk of sheet, we are talking of the form. Okay. Dot range. Which of the range are we talking about? C15. Okay. Control C to copy it. Sorry. Control V to paste C15. Dot value. We are writing to that range. Okay. What value are we writing there? Is equal to, then it's a string. So last, you see last execution info. It means the last time the data is submitted. What is the information? So you say what? Data submitted successfully. Okay, so that is that. Data submitted successfully. Now we want to add the time, the current time, and then date to that. Okay, so we will concatenate this information to the current date and time. So to that we use the ampersand. Okay, so we say this. Then we call the now function. What does the now function do? It returns the current time. This line, this short thing here, you know, it's a function, right? We talk of functions. The now function, just like the sum function returns addition of numbers, the now function returns date and time. Okay, so that is what the now function does. It returns the current date and time. Let's check on that. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to check that. Now let's change the name here, like James Milner. Okay, we are maintaining that. So now if we should trigger this, we should have that data written there perfectly. Let's use our button. So this is it. Last execution info, data submitted successfully. We've just written, this line has just written this information here. So you can see the current time and date, but then you can see this is too close here. Okay, let's separate that here. You can do that. It's very simple. So click here, just give a space. Okay, so now if we should run it again, so we have that separated perfectly, separated. Good. So now whenever data is added, it will just record the current time and date. The data is what submitted, but it's too open. Let's make it blur. So select this and go with this. So you can make it like this. Perfect. Good. This looks okay. Perfect. So you can see that everything is now working without any problem, without any stress. Okay. So now the next thing is this. You can see that after submission of this, so let's go ahead and submit another thing. See Ronaldo. Okay. I'm short of names, so you can see where I'm dragging. Sorry for that, please. Let me just submit this and then we check. It's also submitted perfectly. Okay. Now here is the catch. After submission, we will have to come and be clearing this, clearing that, clearing this before we go ahead and then maybe type another one like Gaffer Adam, transaction date 23rd 10 2020, and amount 3,000. Submitting it is submitted here, so we'll have to go back and clear that, but we don't want it that way, right? So what do you think we can do? We can guess. There's another method we can use to just do that. So you can pause the video and try that. Okay, what do you think? Now let's check it out. So we say sheet 1 dot range. Sheet 1 is the form. Okay, dot range. Which of the range are we talking about? We are talking about this range. Let me just control C to copy it. Sorry. Control V to paste. Dot clear. We use the clear content method and then perfect. Now just copy this. Control C to copy it. Control V. So we're going to be editing this. So we come to this one. We want to clear the content after submission. Control C to copy. Control V to paste. We come to this one too. Just select it. Control C to copy. Control V to paste. So we are done with all that. Now, when we submit data now, it's going to clear the content from this range and prepare the form for another input. Okay, so let's just do that. Now, when we trigger this now, it's cleared. Perfect. So now if we should add another one like this, transaction date 12/20, transaction amount 900, added, it's clear. Perfect. It means everything is working. Let's check that. So you can see that. So that is how we design a very simple form with these few lines of code. If you like, you can just clear this one. It's not executed. Okay, so that is that. So basically that is that. Now I'm going to give an assignment. An assignment is going to be like here we just have the client name, transaction date, transaction amount. What I want you to add is this. I want you to add another label and two labels and fields. One, payer's name. I want to take the payer's name, the one who did the payment. Okay, maybe it's not the client, but rather someone different. So that person becomes what the payer. So the payer's name, the payer's contact. So I want you to insert another what's the name, row here, and then another one here. Then after that, you do this, you make sure we have this thing here, that is the test folder there. Make sure we have it for PS name and then the PS contact, the two. All the formatting we have done for this, make sure we have that here. That is your assignment. So you go ahead and add that. Good luck. So you can go ahead and keep adding our data. Ima Kwame, transaction date 21st 10 2020, transaction amount 2,300 is added. So we have our form here perfectly. So everything is working without any problem, without any stress. So for now, I say thank you very much for watching. Bye for now. Save your work and make sure you do the assignment, because I'll be checking it out. I'll be expecting screenshot and make sure that it works. After that, you come and edit your codes. You don't have to write from scratch again. Now, the good thing about this is this. Now that we have written something like this, if you want to create any different form from this, okay, you don't need to write code from scratch again, okay. What you just have to do is, after writing your or designing the front end, that is the user interface like this, when you come to the back end and maybe after naming your ranges, you know where to edit. You know that this line of code is doing this, this one is doing that, this is a loop. What condition is it checking? When the condition is met, what is the next line? What is that line doing? If you are able to understand that, then you know how to manipulate and edit your code. So don't forget, after adding that, you don't need to write another thing. You just have to copy this and edit it to what? PS name. Copy the same thing and edit. Don't forget to skip to offset the what's the name? the what's the name? Get it for me. The columns and then the rows. You should know how to go around this. Okay. If you add another range, don't forget to name the range. Give them another names. Okay. Don't forget of the label. Maybe PS name. As you see, transaction now, I just want to have PS name and PS contacts. You give them their labels, sorry, their fields where we're going to be typing, and make sure we have these test holders inside here. As the what we use the formula to do, make sure we have the same thing. I want everything the same thing like this. Then after that, when you come to your back end, don't forget that these 3 lines of codes, first one is clearing this content, second one is clearing from here, third one is clearing. Don't forget, when you add, you need to what? Add another 2 lines again, and make sure you specify the range the data is going to be cleared inside here. Don't forget about that. Perfect. It's very, very important. And now maybe after adding, since we didn't name this particular range, okay, we didn't name this range, that is C15. Don't forget, now that you're going to add 2 ranges, 2 rows, it will change the name of this row, right? It's not going to be C15 again. So how do you go about that? Would you like to name this range? I don't want to name it for you. Maybe you may say that, okay, let me also name this range to make it what? Static. So that even if I should add another row, it remains the name. So don't forget, when you change the name, you come back here and change it. It's very important. Okay, I'm just explaining how the assignment is going to be. So if you do that, it's fine. It will also help you. But if you didn't do it after that, make sure that maybe let me add another row here like this. You can see that it's no more 15. So even if I should run this, this code will not be, this thing will not work again. It's now what? C16. You see, and in the codes we have what? C15. So you should be very careful how to work around that. It's now back to what? C15 again. This is very good. This makes you think, okay, that is how programming is. As what's the name? Steve Jobs says, what? Learn how to write what? Computer program, or learn programming as it makes you think. That is that. Just have to open your mind, think deep. How do I manipulate this and change it to that, do this and do that? If you're able to do all that, perfect, it works. And don't also forget, like I just explained this too, so you should understand that. And then you know what this line is doing, is activating the form. You don't want to go back to the data sheet, right? That is that. Now the final thing is this, like I said, when you add another range now, that is what's the name? You come to the data sheet now. It means you're going to add another column here for what? Base name. PS contact. Okay, so with this, when you come to your source code here, what you need to just copy this line. You're going to skip how many columns? One, two, three columns to get what the PS name displayed there. Then to get the PS contact, you're going to skip how many? Four. So don't forget of all that. It's very important. Thank you very much for watching. Please try to do the assignment and let me have it. When you have the PS name and PS contact, make sure you have the formatting filled with that. I'll be getting a screenshot of this as well as the form itself too. So that is that. Finally, we are done with our form. Okay, we can collect our data, do whatever we want with it perfectly. So, till our next lesson, I say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.